Grant Ramey, 247 Sports. Josiah, where does the personality of this team come from? Do you think, how much do you think it's changed from October to right now?
I think it comes from, just being around each other on a daily basis. I feel like this group is goofy and fun-loving, but we know how to flip the switch when it's time for practice, time for film. But off the court and on the court is two completely different teams. Off the court, we're joking around, never really too serious, kind of really relaxed, but it's completely opposite once we get on the court and start taking care of our work. And so I think that's a big part of maturity. I think this team is very mature in that aspect.
In the back, right here.
Mike Lissette, Grand Rapids, WZZM. For both of you, if you guys could describe your defense in one word, and then maybe divulge the secret to wreaking havoc on the other team's offense.
It really just comes from being tough.
Word.
Exactly. Relax.
One word.
Toughness. It comes from us being tougher than the other team. That's what we really pride ourselves on. We know coming into the game, if you can just be tougher than the other team, try to run them out their offense, that's the best thing you can really do. Stop them from scoring. So that's what we all really do. Pride ourselves on toughness.
I'd say suffocating. And I think that we just have a great will to do whatever it takes on the defensive end, not only one-on-one, but we talk about guarding 5 against 1, everybody having each other's back and making fix-it plays. But I think that we just have an outstanding will when it comes to defense.
We have blue jacket right there.
Ryan Shumpert, Rocky Top Insider. Josiah, the offense now is kind of night and day from what it looked like in December, early January. Is there a moment where you guys felt like something clicked in a game and changed?
I think one moment was the second half, like the last 8 minutes of the Texas game. We were down like 15 or 16 points. We were able to come all the way back and have a shot to win it at the end. But that really, even though we lost, I feel like we learned a lot from losses. That 8-minute, 9-minute run that we had gave us a lot of life, and it helped us propel to the season that we're having.
Gentleman right here.
Joe Rexroth, The Athletic. Zakai, just wondering how much you and Kennedy have helped each other this year, in particular, going at each other in practice. How much you think you've helped him improve, and then vice versa?
I think we helped each other a whole bunch because I've never guarded somebody as fast as him, or I'm not sure if he's had to guard anybody as fast as me. So that helps me every day because we push ourselves to the max, no matter what. If we're tired, if we're not tired, no matter what, we go our hardest against each other. But that's really the biggest part, that we never had to guard anybody as fast as we are. So we've gotten each other better in so many different ways. I can't even put the number to it.
Up front here, Cap.
Mike Wilson, Knoxville News Sentinel. For both you guys, when you're going through film and preparations, what's it like seeing the way that Santi is just running all over the court when you're looking back at games?
You got it.
That is very hard to guard because we have to guard that in practice. So I know that what the other team really goes through, but guarding him helps us because when there's other players that do that, we're already prepared for it because he runs around like nobody else in the country. So him running those screens, screening for everybody, he's one of the hardest players to guard when it comes to that. So he just helps us a lot when it comes to that.
Yeah, going off of what Zakai said, I mean, Santi, he does a lot with, offensively and defensively, but on the offensive end, he's constantly moving, and I think it comes from his IQ. I think he has a really high IQ. And so, it makes our offense flow a lot better. And I think that Coach is always telling us if we move like Santi, then we'd be really hard to guard. And I think that a lot of people have tried to emulate him. But it's really hard to emulate somebody who runs around that much.
Second row, right here.
This is for Zakai. Trey Wallace with Outkick. Zakai, I know you kind of have a little relationship with the St. Peter's staff since they recruited you. What were your feelings last night, if you got to watch that basketball game?
I was happy for him because, you know, we're in the SEC with Kentucky, but I was actually happy for him. I got a friend on that team, Jamal Murray. That's my guy, so I was really happy for him once I seen them win. But just them recruiting me and me playing against them and us being in the same facility is just that's a really good feeling. But I was very happy for them last night.
Back row.
Yeah, Zakai, Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated. Obviously, your story and how you were recruited, or not recruited, for a lot of your high school career has been well documented. But do you have memories of watching March Madness last year and dreams of this moment? And if so, what were those days like, and how do you reflect on them now?
It's just a dream come true. I remember me and my mother just watching all these games, saying one day I'm gonna be in the situation, one day I'm gonna be there. Whether win or lose, I'm gonna be there. But now just me living this dream that I've always had is just the best feeling ever.
Front row, the corner.
Ben McKee, VolQuest.com. Josiah, Rick talked about the post play and everybody circling that matchup tomorrow, and Rick talked about how it starts on the perimeter. What does that mean, and what do you all need to do to help your four guys down there in the post tomorrow?
Yeah, we know that they're a two-point paint team. They like to get the ball inside, and I feel like we know that we have to pressure the ball, make it hard for their guards from the time they get the ball to the time they get it over half court. Just trying to run them out of their sets. We know that they're going to catch the ball in the post, but we have to make it as hard as possible and try to tire their guards out.
Middle front here.
Rob Lewis from VolQuest.com. Josiah, you always hear the cliches, you want to be playing your best basketball in March, and you want to peak at the right time. Do you feel like you guys, you're in the middle of that right now, like hitting on all cylinders?
I think we're playing really good basketball right now. I think we have a lot of areas that we can get better in, and that's the exciting part about it. I think that we have to continue to keep getting better, but I would say this is the best we've played so far.
Front row, Cap.
Josiah, what was your reaction on Sunday when you saw Zakai show up with the sunglasses post game, and when did how did sunglasses become a thing after that?
My reaction, he wears those glasses all the time, so I can't really say I was surprised. I was surprised that he got them out there. I didn't know he had them. But my reaction was, it's just Zakai being Zakai. And you'd have to ask him where they came from. I don't know.
I had them in my bag already, and I asked the manager to go get them for me. But I was planning on doing that for a few days, I'm not going to lie.
Blue shirt right there.
Andrew Kahn, Ann Arbor News. I know you guys won't be guarding their center, Hunter Dickinson, #1, probably one-on-one, but still, as a team, I guess, how has he been addressed in practice as far as, is there a player, your coaches have compared him to, or just given his size?
He's a unit. He's a big dude. I just saw him walking in the hallway. I mean, he's a tough guard, and watching film about him, we just gotta. He's comfortable when he's getting to his right shoulder, left hand. So we gotta try and take that away. He's gonna try to bully dribble, try to get as close to the basket as possible. That's why I feel like our play on the guards has to be relentless from start to finish. But the comparisons that we have, a couple of guys in the SEC are Colin Castleton and Oscar Sheboy. And so we played against those guys. But I mean, I feel like Dickinson is in a class of his own. It's going to take a lot to stop him.
Back row there.
You guys are sort of history in the making for a school not known for basketball history. You won the SEC championship for the first time in decades. Now you have a chance to do something else. How much does that get brought up in the conversation of being the first, and how important is that to you guys?
It's super important to us. It's only my first year in it, so the history of being here, as long as he has, it's not as much to me, but it's still like I want to win it all, no matter what I'm doing. I just want to win it all. So just us winning the SEC, that's cool, but now we got a couple more games to win, so we get a national chip.
The white shirt right there, and then that way.
Derek Harper, IUPY Capital Journalism Program. Michigan may be getting back Devontae Jones. Is there any plan how to cover him, how to get stops there?
Same way as we guard every other guard. Keep the ball in front, contain as much as we can, and do what we need to do. That's really it. Just contain the ball.
Back row.
Kind of going off that, how do you guys change your scouting reports at all? Do you plan for both players, either Devontae starting or Frankie Collins, or is there any difference at all?
We expect them to be at their best, so we expect Jones to play. We've already scouted him. We scouted everybody they play, and so I mean we expect them to be at full strength. And in the scouting report, we have those guys. We know what they like to do, so we just got to do what we practice.
Anything else? Front row cap.
Yeah. Just last year, John Fulkerson wasn't able to play in this when he was hurt. What do you remember about just him being out, encouraging him, and how nice is it now to have him back for his 6th year and give him this opportunity?
Yeah, I remember. Just it was sad when he went down. We knew he wasn't going to be able to play for the rest of the SEC tournament. And then in March, once we got here to March Madness, we knew he wasn't going to be available. And it was just kind of heartbreaking for somebody who's put so much in to the game of basketball, to the University of Tennessee. We definitely wanted to win it for him, or win as many games for him, but we weren't able to get the job done. And having him come back for hopefully his last year, I mean, we just want to send him out the right way. Fulky's been a phenomenal leader in the community, a leader on this team, and so, I mean, he's one of a kind. The heart that he has, not only him as a basketball player, but the person he is. Just we want to send him out the right way, and win as many games in March as possible.
Second row.
Trey Wallace with Outkick. Zakai, Josiah Jordan James just talked a lot about it. I know other veterans have as well. The way last season ended here in Indianapolis, how do you kind of navigate through that and learn from maybe the lessons that they unfortunately learned last year here in this same city?
First, we didn't want to end the season that way. That's first off. We knew we had to get a win just to make it better than last season. So I've asked the guys a couple of questions as far as like, well, how was it like crowd-wise and stuff? It wasn't anybody here, but all they really told me is the same thing, just more intensity and more at risk. Everything is to lose, so you just got to get out there and play your hardest and do what you have to do, and don't switch it up really. Just be yourself.
Back row.
Hi, Mary Francis, WRCB in Chattanooga. Just to piggyback off of a previous question, how do you separate from all the success that you guys have recently had after winning the SEC championship and then a 32-point victory last night? I just imagine that's difficult to, you have to balance the celebration, but you also have a lot more to do.
We know what the next step is, so we won the SEC chip. We was pumped about it. We had a day off the next day, so we knew like this is our time. Like, we happy about it. But the day after that, we knew we had to lock in. We knew, like I said earlier, we knew it was at risk. Like, we got a couple more games to win. We want bigger and better things. So the conference chip, it was pretty big to us, but now we got to do more. Next step.
In the middle, right here.
Josiah Trippo here from the Maryville Daily Times. You mentioned Castleton and Sheba. You also beat Arizona in their bigs. Is there something comforting in the fact that y'all have had so much success against teams with highly touted bigs?
Yeah, I mean, it proves that we can get the job done, but we can't let the success that we had against other people think that it's going to be the same against Michigan tomorrow. We have to turn the page. We have to, like I said over and over, we just got to do what we practice. And if we execute the scout that we're given, that I feel like we're putting ourselves in a really good position. But I mean, yeah, we've proven that we can do it. We just got to do it again.
Have you? I don't know if you guys have gone back and looked at previous years with Tennessee basketball. This kind of goes for both of y'all. Did y'all know the last time that Tennessee basketball lost to Michigan was in Indianapolis in the Sweet 16?
I did not know that. No, I didn't know that either.
None of the former players have reached out to you and talking mess, getting ready for this game?
No, sir.
Good stuff.
We'll take one more right here.
Yeah, for Josiah. I know obviously you guys have the big, small lineup. You like to mix that up. I'm assuming you're looking at a lot of different guys. Just wondering, when you look at a Diabate on film for them, what you see.
Somebody who's really tall, uses his length well. He's really good offensively and defensively. He's really skilled. You know, he's one of the bigs that we have to key in on, not only Dickinson, but him as well. But he's somebody who is really skilled on the offensive end, and we know that they like to go a lot through him and Dickinson, so we definitely got to be locked in at that position, who's ever guarding him.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck tomorrow.
Appreciate it.
We'll have Coach Rick Barnes up momentarily. University of Tennessee coach Rick Barnes joining us. Once again, we remind you to raise your hand if you wish to ask a question and state your name and affiliation. We'll start with White right over here.
Hi, Derek Harper, IUPUI Sports Capital Journalism. You have a lineup tomorrow, and Michigan might have Devontae Jones back. Is there any game plan to prepare for him?
Yes. I mean, obviously, we'll make sure we're aware of all their players from a personnel standpoint and knowing that that he could play.
Hat right here.
Rick, you said a lot this year you wish you could coach DNA in terms of, I guess, Zakai Ziegler. Do you think this team has adopted some of his DNA in terms of toughness or fearlessness, kind of the personality of this team?
I do think they have. I mean, from the time that he arrived on campus and once he got settled in and the way he endeared himself, you know, as a teammate, and I think our players look at him and see that he's fearless. He's got a very short memory. Whether he misses a shot or turns the ball over, even when I voice my opinion to him, he just has a great way of letting it run off his back and focus on the next play.
Front row, middle.
Rob Lewis with VolQuest.com. Coach, just can you describe Josiah's kind of maturation as a leader for this team? And he's always been probably one of the most liked guys on the team, but now it feels like he's really cranked it up a notch in how he is willing to hold people accountable as opposed to just be somebody who picks them up.
You know, when Joe first got here, he came in, a lot of expectations, obviously, from our fans, and he actually came in and, because of our situation, had to spend a lot of time playing the point position, trying to learn to play that position at this level because of where we were at the program at that time. And then, you think about it, a year later, Lamonte gets hurt and Santi comes in. But the one thing that he has done is that he's always been an incredible, unselfish person. He tremendous worker, and he has never, ever, at times we've thought that he held too much in. And we said, hey, you got to, because everything's fine. It's always fine. And we know that he struggled at times with some of the injuries that he had, but he is obviously tremendously respected by his teammates because he never complains. They know how hard he's worked, but the way what he's developed into, and again, I've said it many times, I think he's just really getting started, finding himself as a player, and the fact that he's been able to start scoring at all three levels. But what he does night in and night out defensively and rebounding wise just speaks volumes about who he is as a team player.
Front right.
Ben McKee, VolQuest.com. Rick, you mentioned yesterday that the guards need to help the post players. What does that look like, and what stands out to you about Hunter Dickinson?
Well, he knows where he wants to be on the floor. They do a really good job of moving him around and get him where they want him to be. And when he gets over that right shoulder, he's got great touch. He has proven he can make threes and pass the ball. So with that said, it'll take a team effort. But when you look at Michigan, they are a very heavy two-point team at a very, very high percentage. But then you look at them from a three-point perspective, they're a very, very good three-point shooting team. They don't take a lot, but when they do, they shoot it at a very high percentage. They know what they're looking for, and they know that he's a big part of that. And he knows, again, which is key, he knows where he wants the ball and where he wants to be effective.
Back corner, White.
Vince Ferrara, 99.1, the sports animal in Knoxville. Rick, before the SEC tournament, you said that to have success in tournament play, that you had to not only execute your roles that you have been doing, but you needed to elevate and play even better. Do you feel like you've done that, and if so, in what areas?
Well, I think in a lot of areas, because I don't think you can stay where you are. We need to be better tomorrow. We need to be better. We need to be better. Like I thought early last night that Longwood did a terrific job running their offense and getting us into some rotations that we didn't want to be in. Michigan, very heavy ball screen team, different areas of the court. So we're going to have to, again, like to think we can do better. We ended up we really went to a defense where we were pretty much switching everything. Won't be able to do that in this game because of the size that they have there inside. But the fact is, the things that we keep talking about, it all comes to fundamentals. It'll come back to that tomorrow for both teams. Can we execute what we need to do with our defense? Can we rebound the basketball? Can we take care of the basketball? And then all coaches, you ask them, before a game, if you could pick one thing, I think most of us would say, hey, we hope we can make some shots. But we just need to continue to get better in those fundamental aspects of the game.
Blue jacket, right in the middle.
Ryan Shumpert, RockyTopInsider.com. Just what makes Michigan's lineups with both Dickinson and Diabate on the court at the same time so effective?
Well, I think the versatility and the fact that they do have some shooters around those guys that you just can't dare them to shoot the ball. You can't. And they run really good offense. There are multiple, offensive team in terms of the sets and different actions that they run. They have things they like to do on the outer third of the court, some things they like to do in the middle part of the court. So with the balance around them, but I think the biggest thing is they know exactly what they're looking for, and they know exactly how they want to play. And I think they're an unselfish team. I don't think they would be still playing if they weren't.
Front row in the cap.
Mike Wilson, Knoxville News Sentinel. Rick, you guys recruited Juwan Howard's son for a good bit there. I want to know, what's the process like when you're recruiting a different coach's son? Is this the first time in your career that you've had that experience?
Well, you know what? When we went at it, I think a lot of people weren't recruiting Jet at the time, and because assuming that he would be with his dad, which he ended up being, but it just so happened when we got involved, it just kept developing a little bit more, and got to know his family extremely well. And Juwan was great. He was great with us, and obviously he didn't make the visit when they came down, but getting to know his family, just a wonderful family. I mean, an absolutely beautiful family, but in the end, we knew it would be very difficult, but we thought it was worth trying to make it happen, and we certainly don't regret the effort that we put into it.
Right behind him, right there.
Trey Wallace, Outkick. Coach, about this team just seemed to find motivation in different ways. They had their goals in Tampa with the SEC tournament, and then they get here and we hear Josiah Jordan-James and the others talking about redemption from last year and the way things ended in Indianapolis. What is it about this team finding different motivation factors, maybe whether it's not coming from you guys or not, but leading them through the season?
Well, I think some of us certainly maturity. I mean, Josiah has been through a lot in his time. You think about when he came in with our program, we were somewhat in a transition, and then the COVID hit, which was, I think, really difficult for everybody, and there was a lot of uncertainty. But I have to, again, a lot of the credit with this group really does have to go to Josiah and Santi and John Fulkerson in his own way. But then I can talk about DJ Bailey, guys like that. And then certainly Zakai coming in, Kennedy Chandler. They've all, for whatever reason, they really do like each other. And they're competitive. And again, if you watch this practice every day, I think you would see that. I mean, I've told everyone probably the best thing that could happen to Kennedy was Zakai Ziegler and Santiago. I mean, every day. I mean, and those two guys are highly competitive. What you see them do on the court, they do every day. And I think with that said, that's been a big part of this team, pulling for each other, sticking together, and wanting to win together.
Blue shirt, right there.
Andrew Kahn, Ann Arbor News. Just going back to Jet, Juwan said he was nervous he was going to lose that recruiting battle. I guess on the flip side, how confident were you that you might win it there at the end?
Well, I learned a long time ago that blood's thicker than water. But I'm telling you, he has a great family. And you know what? And at no point in time did we ever felt we were like, if I had a son as good as Jet, I'd want him to play for me. If he wasn't, I wouldn't. But I get it. I do. And but like I said, we really thoroughly, it was one of the great visits we had, and just because really a lot of the way their transparency too. And we knew it would be difficult, but yet, like I said, we thought it was, worth that chance.
White shirt back.
Reese Van Hatten, WATE. You said yesterday that this team goes when Josiah Jordan-James goes. Obviously, his versatility is going to be very important in this game, but how important is it that he can guard 1 through 4 when you're facing a team with Michigan's size?
It is important. I mean, that's where, again, Josiah yesterday, and we know that when he gives us the versatility like that we need, and we even had worked hard having Jemai Mashak ready in case he got into foul trouble, because Jemai's much stronger than he looks and can play and defend and do those type things that we need him to do. But he is, again, I think like most players this time of year, they look forward to this. And it goes back, Joe's been such a great team player. I mean, he's always put the team first, maybe to a fault, and again, we all want everybody to put the team first, but at some point in time, you've got to be selfish in the fact that you have to know exactly what that team needs you to do, and you have to do it. And there's been times where he was reluctant to shoot the ball, and we need him. We've told him for a long time, you got to shoot it. When you're open, you shoot the shot you practice. We need you to shoot it. And I think for a long time he was reluctant to do that, but he knows now, and that, again, he's just, like I think most guys start to figure it out a little bit more each day.
front row of the green.
Yeah, Rick, Gentry Estes, Tennessee. And what are your thoughts on the job Juwan Howard's doing at Michigan? And as a guy who had not been a head coach in college before and dealing with some bumps in the road this year.
I look at Juwan like I really look at Jerry Stackhouse, two great basketball coaches that paid their dues. They paid their dues at this game, working and certainly in the NBA. And if you look at both of them, they have some of that background that you'd expect them to have. But I mean, just terrific coaches. And when I look at watching Juwan's team now, really up close for the first time, you're impressed because they've got really good schemes. And I think, again, the best way I can tell you is the best thing a coach can do is put his guys in the best possible position that they can be successful, and he has done that. But certainly, I'm impressed watching them, more so over the last, couple, day, going on a day now. But I know his background. I know it wasn't like he just, he's been around the game a long time. I think he was in Miami for a long time. And when you come out of that organization, sitting on that bench with those guys and working as hard as he had, and so he was ready. Just like I feel Mike Schwartz, who's leaving us, he's ready. He's been ready, and I think Juwan, certainly Jerry Stackhouse, those guys have probably been ready a long time ago for the opportunities they've gotten.
On the end over here, the blue.
Brian Bush, Michigan Radio Network. Both these teams have a lot of freshmen and a lot of freshmen who play big minutes. How do you coach up freshmen as you indoctrinate them into your system and get them ready for playing? Are there similarities across the board, knowing that obviously individually coaching has to be different too?
To be quite frank, when I go on the court, I don't look at class. I don't. I coach them all pretty much the same, and I think they would tell you that's pretty hard, pretty demanding, and expect great things from them, whether they're freshmen, sophomore, junior. We're going to coach hard. We're going to try to be as real as we possibly can be to create as many live game situations. And I do think that practice has to be difficult. I think you've got to stress players in practice to get them to understand what they're getting ready to go up against when they go out on the court and when they get ready to go on the road, whatever it may be. And so when freshmen come in, I think I've gotten more patient. At one time I wasn't very patient, but players would probably tell you I'm not now. But the fact is, we're going to coach them all hard, all of them, regardless of their class.
Blue in the middle.
Question on the freshmen that really haven't played a ton. Just how important is the example that VJ has set this year when his role changed, and to keep holding on to that rope and kind of finding a different way to contribute?
I think it's been really, really important because as a coach and staff, we go into games with a plan, but we don't know how that plan is going to play out. Just like we can have the very best laid plan tomorrow thinking that if it all goes right, we stay out of foul trouble, we're making shots, whatever it may be. But if it's not, then you have to start with the adjustments in game, telling guys that for weeks on end, hey, you've got to be ready, and then that they don't play. They don't play. And I think VJ is a perfect example of a guy that every game has been ready. He's gone games where he hasn't played, then he's come in. He really helped us at Missouri, helped us a great deal last night, and helped us in the Kentucky game. He went a little bit over 4.5 minutes where the clock didn't stop and actually took himself out of the game. But I do think it's a great example because we say the same thing to Jemiah, Quentin. We tell all those guys they have to be ready because we don't know. And for the fact that those guys, for the most part, VJ certainly has been, and Jemiah, as a freshman, I think it's been probably a little bit difficult for him at times, but yet, he has stayed with it. They all have, and so that's something that we're really happy to have a guy like VJ that shows him how to do that.
We'll go one more for Coach Barnes, right up here.
Hey, Coach, your players maybe watching the game last night that went on between St. Peter's and Kentucky. Is that kind of a wake-up call to some of your younger guys? I know that maybe not need it, but knowing that, that this thing could be over in a snap of the finger.
Well, I would like to think through the years as they watch this tournament, they know that. And at this point now, you get to this start now. Michigan has played as tough a schedule as anybody, and coming out of a league that's got 9 teams in the NCAA tournament. So I think our players all year long have respected our opponents. I do. I really do, because we start talking in November that this is an NCAA game. If you don't think so, wait till March when that selection show comes on. So they're all important, and we try to build that into them, that realizing that everybody can play. We watch in our league now, we got some guys that have transferred into our league from lower level schools that have made all conference teams, and so we tell them everybody can play. Doesn't matter what's on their jersey. There's a lot of guys that you guys don't know that are places that can play, and I really respect our team for understanding that. And I thought that was one reason yesterday and I think the best compliment you can give an opponent is that you come out and try to play your best basketball. And I know yesterday that was a compliment that we gave, along with that we knew we had to play well to beat them, and we did play well.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
A recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly.